once you've passed that seeker phase, if you pass it, if not, you know, just come on Sunday, you'll be enriched. It's always an inspiration. But if you want to delve deeper, you know, there's small groups, there's volunteering, there are so many programs that you can get involved in.
But the success we've had in welcoming and discipling new Christ followers will soon be limited by the very same facilities that allowed us to grow so much in the first place. For example, Wild is bursting at the seams on Sunday nights.
There's a lot more kids now, a lot more kids. I think we started out with 8 sixth grade girls, and now there's like 15. So we've almost doubled. There's a million 7th grade boys. I can't even count them. It's grown a lot, and I see the kids having fun, but I also see there not being enough room.
You have to have space. If people walk in and they feel like the classrooms are overcrowded and their kids aren't being taught, even giving the teenagers a place to come hang out, a safe haven for them to be with their friends and just relax.
Because right now I feel like when you get out of church and you want to talk with others, there's no place to really go, there's not enough room.
When a church is growing as fast as Kaw Prairie is, it can be both exciting and daunting. But by God's grace, He's provided a substantial untapped resource: the second floor.
It's easy to see how all this extra ministry space will benefit us and our children. But we're praying that this expansion will make even more room for people of all ages who don't yet know the love of Christ. Come dream with us for a minute about how God might use this space for His purposes.
The first thing you'll notice when you enter the newly finished second floor will be the spacious loft area with a cozy fireplace. Not only will it give us more Sunday morning conversation space, but it'll provide a comfortable, homey environment for small groups to meet too.
During the warmer months, Kaw Prairiers will also be able to connect and grow with each other on the new second-story deck overlooking the pond. This will speak even more loudly to our neighbors. The Kaw Prairie is a place where people can find community.
Hey, let's not forget how important this project will be to our children and youth programs. If you're in Wild or Jam, you're going to want to listen to this next part.
In the area behind me, we'll be able to add 3 to 4 new classrooms, which will provide much needed room for our Wild small groups.
Yeah, and we won't have to try to sit in these anymore.
The classrooms will also be used on Sunday mornings by some of the older Jam kids, so we can make more room for the younger kids downstairs.
And this is where the epicenter of awesomeness is gonna be, the new Wild Youth Room.
On Sunday morning, the older Jam kids will have their own large group study session up here. And as Kaw Prairie grows, it will give the church the flexibility to have its own family worship service here on Sunday nights.
But don't let all those different uses fool you. This room will have a look and feel designed specifically for the youth. We'll have a stage where the Wild Band can lead worship, as well as a ton of space to play video games, have ping pong tournaments, or just hang out.
On the south side of the building, we'll add a conference room, some shared office space for staff, and another office that can be used for pastoral counseling.
And in order to prepare for the next wave of families that God will bring to Kaw Prairie, the campaign will allow us to expand the north parking lot and add a second entrance to improve traffic flow around the building.
Since our ministry center is already in a mortgage with an excellent interest rate, we won't be financing any of these improvements. Everything will be built as the money becomes available and paid for, cash on the barrel.
And speaking of which, the funds from our last campaign not only allowed us to build this ministry center, but has provided the means for us to make the mortgage payment since we moved in. For generations to come, we'll serve the same purpose, but to a somewhat lesser extent as we transition to paying the mortgage from our operating budget.
And finally, recognizing the fact that Kaw Prairie was seeded by donations from other kingdom-hearted congregations. A portion of the campaign funds will be given to support another local mission congregation.
To do all this, our leadership has set a goal of $1.5 million over the 3 years of the campaign.
Now, a capital campaign sounds like it's all about money, and at one level, of course, it is. But at its core, a capital campaign is really a very spiritual thing. It's a chance for a faithful church to have a serious conversation about God's vision and our mission. and a chance for individual Christians and their families to pray about how we're able to sacrifice to accomplish a mission that's so important to the heart of Christ, changing lives with His love. God has obviously blessed our church tremendously with a great location and a welcoming, smartly designed building, with servant-hearted people full of enthusiasm and grace, with a hardworking staff who long to train and equip God's people, and most of all, with a passion to change lives with Jesus' love. We've seen big growth in our first year in our new building, and now God's calling us to a new challenge. I'm asking you whether your family will pray about making a real sacrifice so that our faithfulness can have an impact for generations to come.